Hey, welcome to the Artist Corner. I'm Dan Olson. We are working on a project today. I thought it would be cool to do an acrylic pour chessboard. This is a slightly more ambitious project than anything that I've done before. But if it turns out the way that I'm envisioning it, it should be really awesome. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put some Minwax polyacrylic on the wood to seal it, because I'm going to be putting liquids on it, acrylic paint, and liquid makes wood warp. So I am putting this on to seal it first, to try and prevent any sort of warping. And the next step in our project is we are going to apply a coat of white gesso. We're now ready to do the light colors, light squares, and the border for our chessboard. To do this, I've got some Amsterdam titanium white. I made what I'm hoping is a really nice peach color made out of Amsterdam Persian rose and some Artist Loft metallic orange. And then just to help with the whole marbled effect that I'm going for, I also have a little bit of Artist Loft silver, Amsterdam oxide black, and some Arteza gold. But these two I am planning on being the primary colors for this. And then finally some Arteza gold. And then I am just gently going to stir this a couple of times. I want it to be mixed, but not completely over mixed, because we're going for a marbled look. Okay. I think that's gorgeous. It's a little bit darker than I had hoped for. The black became a little bit more dominant than I wanted it to be. This might come out heavily peach, and that might be okay. We'll see how we get it to spread. That might be a little bit closer to what I was hoping for my light colored. Let's tilt this out. You know, obviously all of the other paint that I already have on there is going to help this spread really, really well. Still trying to maintain that marbled look with this. It is certainly more dominated with the peach this time, which is not a bad thing, because as it turns out I really, really liked that peach that I created. Try to make sure that I'm keeping this on camera. Let's try and get it down to this corner down here. And then let's just try and tilt off some of the excess paint. That is probably exactly what I was going for. And now I will babysit this for a little while. Make sure that there's no drips that come off the bottom, but oh my gosh, that looks so gorgeous. And then once this dries, I'll probably wait for couple of weeks, and then we'll lay down some tape, some sealant, and try to do the darker squares to this board. But I am loving this so far. It's been a few weeks since I poured the base, and I guess now we're getting to the part that honestly I've been a little bit hesitant to do because it scares me. The thought of trying to do 32 squares and have them come out looking relatively perfect. Obviously, you know, I tried to do some test squares. I got a little bit of oops there that I didn't like, but I pulled this tape after 1.5 hours, and I think that when I do it for real, I will leave the tape on for 24 to 36 hours. So I have 1-inch frog tape. I left one side open. I don't know if I need to leave one side open, you know, maybe just a little bit of give and take if the sizes aren't perfect. But I have it there just in case. And this is my cutting board. It's what I use when I planet pours. If I'm doing other things that I need a template and I need to cut, like watercolor paper, I will do it on this. So I think I am going to lay out strips of this 2-inch tape onto my cutting board, and then actually start this a little off the edge. So I'm going to lay down several strips, and then I'm going to measure them out 2 inches by 2 inches, and then try to cut several of the strips all at once, so that I will, and the thinking being that should create some form of uniformity. I need this tape to go down perfectly. Hey everybody. Okay, next day, a little bit better rested. Looked at the chessboard and saw that some of my corners, because of the extra tape that I put on, wasn't gonna have, you know, clean, defined corners. So I did use the X-Acto knife, went back in, did a little bit more surgery on my tape, which frankly frightens me more than I can say. Where we're at now. So the places that I have taped off, those are the spots that are going to remain the, you know, the peach, Payne's gray, white colors. It's the spots that you can see that are going to become the new color. I'm using Amsterdam Sky Blue as well as Artist Loft's Metallic Purple. The Amsterdam is an opaque paint. The Artist Loft is transparent. Combining the two of them, you know, this is, you know, you'll recall these are the colors from the test sheet. I really love how this color scheme came out. But I'm willing to bet that when I pour these colors on top of this color, I'm not going to end up with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on a little bit of white gesso to, try and white these spaces out, and then hope that I can then put on the other color onto the mat. Before I do that, I have some golden matte medium, and I am going to go along all of the edges and paint it just to try and prevent any sort of paint that can bleed underneath it. So that is our next step. This is a transparent color, so it's not going to show anything, but I am trying to create a safe buffer between my tape and my pour. So I won't force you to watch me do the whole board with this. But let me show you a couple of squares, and just so you get kind of the idea. Go around, go on the edge of every one of them. And that is, like I said, hopefully going to create a seal between my tape and the open area. All right. Now we're going to apply the white gesso to the open boxes. I'm going to start up here and work my way back here so that I'm not trying to paint over wet stuff. A little bit of gesso. Let this dry, and then when I come back, decide if I want to do a second coat or not. I don't want to completely cover the whole board in gesso because it would be nice to know where the squares are at. We're now at the point where I am going to pour on the dark colored squares. Reminder, this is a mixture of Amsterdam Sky Blue and Artist Loft Metallic Purple, and then my cell activator is titanium white, 1 part titanium white to 2 parts Aussie Floetrol. So let's go ahead and get pouring and see where we go. Move it around a little bit, cover the space. And pour just a little bit of the cell activator. Got to be a little bit careful of this because it's not like I'm going to tilt off excess. I guess I will swipe away. Okay, moment of truth. This was dry to the touch this morning. It is now this evening, so it is set, but it certainly has not cured yet, so let's try and kind of carefully lift up our paint tape, cross our fingers. I'm just trying to grab pieces of tape where I can find a finger hold. That's nice. Crisp, clean lines. That is definitely what we were going for. You don't want the paint to fully cure, because then you might rip up paint instead of just lifting up the tape. There it is. One of the last things that we're going to do before resining it is going to use Posca pen to put a black outline around the edge of it. Go ahead and line this up. Nice. There you go. I think the framing looks really nice on that. Here's the finished chessboard. Put on a coat of epoxy resin on it, and so it has that glass-like finish. I absolutely love the hints of gold in the peach, as well as the cells and the lacing in the darker colors. So if you liked it, please subscribe, give it a like, and we'll see what's next. Thank you for coming by.